Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Spellbinders September 2021 Card Kit of the Month. The theme is Together is the Best. This kit is currently available and I do have a link provided in the description box below. And I also have a link to my unboxing video in case you missed that. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. One of my favorite pattern papers in the whole kit is this pear paper with the little white flowers. I cut, I think it's about a 2.5 inch strip, and I'll be layering it on some dark green cardstock. I also have this strip of green and white polka dot paper. I use a scallop border die and cut out this little matted layer piece for that green and white polka dot strip, so it fits on there perfectly. Using the same scallop die, I cut out a strip in blue and also in yellow. I'm putting some of the double-sided tape on the very edge. I'll remove the release paper and adhere this piece onto the blue scallops. And I'm trying to line up all of those scallops. I do have the blue piece and the yellow just a little bit wider. That way I'm able to line them up and then just trim off the extra. So I'll do the same thing for the yellow scallops. And it helps to have the double-sided tape since sometimes when you cut out these borders they curl slightly, so having the double-sided tape forces them to stay nice and straight. And to adhere to the card, I'll put down some more of the double-sided tape. Put one on each end. And since I have all of those layers from the scallop borders, I'll also add a scrap piece of cardstock just on the upper portion. So I really didn't need that double-sided tape there at first. Need to add just one more small piece. And I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card. I'm adding just small drops of liquid adhesive to the yellow scallops just to make sure it lays down nice and flat. Once that is all attached, I'll put some ATG tape on the back and adhere this panel onto my card base, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the image on the card, I'm using one of the chipboard frames that's included in the kit. And I also have a piece of white shimmer cardstock. Put some of the double-sided tape along the back side of the frame. Then I'll remove the release paper and attach that solid cardstock. I didn't want to have the pear paper showing through the frame. I really wanted to have a white background. Before attaching the frame to the card, I'll add that scrap piece of cardstock to the upper portion just to keep it nice and level. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the right side of the card. Next, I'll bring in a couple of the die cut pieces. I have 2 butterflies, one in yellow and one in gray. And I'll pop these up using the foam squares that are included in the kit. And part of the butterfly wings will go on top of the frame. So now I'll pop up the smaller butterfly, remove the release paper and adhere it in place. For the sentiment, I'm using another die cut piece. It has the word beautiful in some gold foil. I'll be adhering it to the lower left-hand corner of the frame, so I want to keep it nice and level. I'm adding some foam dimension, just a small piece on the very left-hand side and also a little sliver on the right side where it goes off of that frame. And since this foam dimension is a little bit thicker than the frame, I'm also adding a small piece of cardstock just between those foam pieces, and that way everything will be at the same level. For a few finishing touches, I decided to add some small banners in the upper left-hand corner. I used the same blue and green cardstock colors, just cutting a fishtail. The blue piece is a little bit longer than the green. So I'll adhere the blue down first using some liquid adhesive. Then I'll put just a tiny scrap piece of cardstock to the right of that banner piece before adhering the green banner on top. I'll also add a small gold heart. This is one of the puffy stickers that's included in the kit. Lots of little hearts. They do have adhesive on the back, but I like to add a drop of liquid adhesive just to make sure they won't fall off later. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Now moving on to card design number 2, and I did zoom in a bit. I didn't realize I was zoomed out as much for my first card, so sorry about that. But card number 2, I'm using a sketch from MFT. This is number 378. I have some more of that green and white polka dot paper for the background, and this beautiful orange floral paper for the larger rectangle piece. Layering everything on some dark green cardstock. Then I used a stitch square die for this little wood panel portion, and that'll go in the center of the floral paper. Put my card front onto a card base. Just try to figure out if there was an upside for the floral paper, but I don't think it really matters. I'll adhere this little wood panel using some liquid adhesive. Then I'll bring in one of the floral die cut pieces, beautiful pink flowers, and I did add some thin foam dimension to the back side. Just adhere that inside that wood panel. I'm also adding one of the chipboard sentiments. This is from All of Us. It does already have adhesive on the back, but I like to add a little extra adhesive just in case. Also adding one of the chipboard banners in the upper left-hand corner. Then to finish off the card, I'm using some bling, and this is from Spellbinders. This is their gold mix, and this is not included in the kit, but the color matches beautifully. I just put 3 of them around the flower. So there's my finished card. I did make 2. For the second card, I used a different chipboard sentiment. For card design number 3, I have some gray pattern paper that's covered in white hearts and gold foil hearts. Really pretty. Layer it on some dark gray cardstock. I'll be adding one of the pink chipboard frames. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I also have several of the little nesting doll die cut pieces. So to attach the frame, I'm using some of the double-sided tape that's included in the kit, just putting a piece along the edge. I love the Spellbinders includes the small roll of the double-sided tape, and it does last quite a while. The roll I'm currently using is from the very first Spellbinders kit that I ever used, and I believe this is now my 3rd kit. So I figured I'd finish off a roll before starting a new one. So once I attach the frame, I'll put all of those little die cut pieces in place, and I'm just going to glue those down using some liquid adhesive. They'll overlap each other just slightly since they don't fit perfectly inside the frame. If you had a family picture, you'd stand nice and close to each other. You wouldn't be all separate. Then I'll also bring in some more of the die cut pieces. I have the little book with some flowers that has family traditions on it, and then also the word family. And I'll be attaching those to the frame. The little book will go in that lower left-hand corner. I'm adding some foam dimension to the areas where it goes off of that frame. And then a liquid adhesive where that little book is touching the frame. And I'll do the same thing for the word family. So it's just part of the Y and the F that go off of the frame. The rest of it's going to sit right on top. So remove the release paper, add some liquid adhesive. When I attached it, I made sure the top part of the F didn't cover up either of the little kids. Also adding one of the die cut bows to the top of the frame. Then to finish up the card, I'll add a couple more of the gold hearts, putting them to the right side of the word family. So there is my finished card. Once I laid this second card out, I realized I forgot to add the word together. This is from one of the puffy sticker sheets. It has lots of different sentiments. So there are my finished cards, and I made 2 using this design. Now moving on to card design number 4. I'll be using a card sketch. This is from OWH. It's number 115. I have lots of yellow and blues in this card. So I have some yellow tone-on-tone paper for the background, this beautiful floral paper for this larger rectangle, and also a strip of this blue paper with the little white flourishes on it. I'll layer all of the pieces on some black cardstock. I think it adds some nice contrast, and since there's little black flowers and leaves on that pattern paper, it really works well together. Before attaching this blue strip, I am putting those scrap pieces of cardstock on the outer right and left side where it goes off of that floral paper. Trying to make sure they're the right size. Then I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and attach this piece. And I didn't mention earlier, but all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. For most of my matted cardstock layers, I add an additional 1/8 of an inch to the measurements listed on the sketch. So I'll put some ATG tape on the back and adhere my card front onto a card base. And I will leave that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I've already stamped out the sentiment, "Together is the best place to be," and I decided to add a little splatter to the background. I'm using Catherine Pooler's Tranquil color. I pressed some ink onto an acrylic block, spritzed it with some water. I'll take a paintbrush and just tap that paintbrush to add that splatter effect to the background, just for a little extra detail. And it did dry fairly light, but you can still see that fun splatter look. I'll layer this piece on some black cardstock, and the white paper I use for this sentiment is from the card bases that are included in the kit. I simply cut it down. I prefer to use 120-pound cardstock for my card bases, but I really like the card bases that are included with the Spellbinders kit since they have a nice linen finish on one side. So you could use them for the backgrounds, you could use them for sentiments, even if you don't want to use it for your card base. For the image on the card, I'm using the mother swan and her baby. This is one of the die cut pieces. Just popped it up using the foam squares that are included in the kit. And then I'll add a couple of the die cut hearts. One in gold and one in that same blue. Then a final finishing touch, I'll add a few of the gold gems. Put 3 of them around the hearts and 2 in the upper left-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this sketch. For card design number 5, I'm using a card sketch from OWH. This is number 80. I have some beautiful floral paper for the background. I also have the wood panel paper and then just a strip of this tone-on-tone green paper with a bunch of sentiments on the background. Layer everything on some dark green cardstock. Now the kit does include quite a few sheets of cardstock, but I do bring in some additional cardstock since I add a lot of layers to my cards. For this card, I won't have any of the white card base showing. Whenever I have a background that's mostly white, I prefer to have a little wider border and not have that white card base showing. For the sentiment on the card, I'm using one of the die cut pieces. This is "Wishing you the happiest of days." I am putting some of the pattern paper scrap on the right side just to keep it nice and level. And then I'll adhere it to the card, not following this sketch exactly. I'm changing up some of the pieces. I'm adding this little watering can with the pretty pink flowers, putting that in the lower right hand corner, and then I'll also add a couple of the chipboard stickers. I have this beautiful pink butterfly and also a small gold heart. Then to finish off the card, I'll add a few of the gold gem stickers using 2 different sizes and putting them around the sentiment and images. And there is my finished card. For the second card, I used the yellow chipboard butterfly and also a green puffy sticker. Now moving on to card design number 6. The card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. It's number 498. I have this fun pink and orange plaid paper for the background. I'll layer it on a scallop or rectangle die cut. Once I have those 2 adhere, I'll put some ATG tape on the back and adhere my card front onto a card base. And you will see some of the white card base showing. I also have a stitched oval die cut. I just used some solid pink cardstock for that. I'll adhere that using some liquid adhesive. For the image on the card, I'm using one of my favorite die cut pieces. It's this little pink bicycle. So cute. I did put some thin foam dimension on the back side, and I'll adhere it to the center of the oval. For the sentiment on the card, I'm using some of the puffy stickers. There's all these different sentiments. Some just have a straight piece and others have a little banner. So I'm using happy birthday and relax and enjoy. I'll add some scrap pieces of cardstock where the puffy stickers go off of the oval. That way they'll be nice and level. I'll also put some liquid adhesive on the back just to make sure they're not going to pop off later. Then to finish off the card, I'll add 2 of the small heart die cut pieces. One in pink and the other in a light orange color. And the orange, I did pop it up using a thin foam square. So there's my finished card. Very similar, I just used different sentiments for the second card. For card design number 7, this one took the longest to make, but it was so much fun. I have this adorable pattern paper for the background with all the little houses. I'll be adding a black rectangle frame along the outside. I'm using some of the double-sided tape on the back side of this frame. It fit perfectly. I'll put some ATG tape on the back of the pattern paper and adhere it to a card base. That would be easier to adhere that black frame if I had the pattern paper on a nice sturdy surface already. So I'll remove all the release paper. To adhere that frame, I found it easier to start at the very top of the card and just slowly lay it down. I used one of the card bases that's included in the kit and cut out a stitched oval die cut. I'll just adhere that to the center of the card. Since the background paper is fairly busy, by adding that white oval, the image will be able to be seen on the card. So for this card, I'm using the die set that's included in the kit, and this is so fun. It's a little rotary phone. So of course I had to make a pink phone. There's several different pieces. There's also 2 sentiments. I'm using the Hello You. So I've cut out all of the little pieces, and I did speed this portion up quite a bit. Just lots of me gluing pieces together. The main color of the phone is pink, but I'm also bringing in some black, white, and gold accents. Now for the little portion where it has the numbers, I guess it's the dial portion, I put some double-sided tape on the back side, and then the numbers will be in gold mirror, and this is the cardstock that's included in the kit. Now the numbers are super tiny, so I am using an embellishment wand to help pick them up. And it's hard to see in the video, but they do have the little indentation with the actual numbers on them. So you want to make sure to get those in the correct order. And I'll put liquid adhesive in the areas there isn't any double-sided tape. And I don't know the name of all the parts of the phone, but the kit does include an inspiration sheet, and it has a tutorial on how to assemble the phone. So if you aren't sure about one of the parts or several of the parts, you can look at that little tutorial sheet. I did for several of these little pieces. My family had a rotary phone when I was a child, but that was many years ago. For the cord on the phone, I used a darker pink cardstock, the same color I used for the sentiment. Now the very back of that cord will go behind the body of the phone, so I'll attach the handset of the phone first, then I'll adhere the body on top. And I decided not to pop it up using any foam dimension, just using some liquid adhesive. So once I have both of those in place, isn't that fun? I love the gold accents on the phone. Now I'll bring in a few of the die cut sentiments. I have you plus me on a little circle, and I'll have that flush to the right, and I did trim off the very edge of it. Add some scrap cardstock just to keep it level with that black border. And I also have the word today, and it's in gold foil, and I'll pop that up using one of the foam squares. And I'll also add the little banner thinking of you. It does have the hole, so you could make it a little tag, but I decided just to trim that portion off. Then I'll add some of the foam dimension on the back side. The little sheet of foam dimension that's included in the kit, even after you use up all the squares, you can still use it. I just trimmed it down. For final finishing touch, I'm adding some more of the gem stickers. This is the crystal mix. And again, this is not included in the kit. This is something I purchased separately. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love this little phone, it's adorable. For card design number 8, I decided to do something quick and simple since I just spent all that time assembling the phone. I have 2 different pattern papers. There's a brick wall for the top portion and using some of that wood paneling for the bottom. So I'm creating a little indoor scene. There's a little gap between the 2 pieces, but I'll be covering that up here in a moment. I'll put my card front onto a card base. And to cover up the gap, I'm using some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the white color in the straight style. Thought it looked perfect for some little trim between the wall and the floor. So I'll just trim off the extra using my little craft knife. And now I'll bring in several different die cut images. I thought it would be fun to create a little indoor scene. First, I'll attach the frame with the sentiment, "Home is wherever you are." I'll just glue that one down directly. For most of the other pieces, I have some foam dimension on the back, and I used different thicknesses of the foam dimension. For the shelf, I have the narrowest dimension, and then I moved up a little thicker for the couch, and then the chair with the cat, I used the foam dimension that's included in the kit since it's a little bit thicker. One of the potted plants I'll glue down directly, and then I'll pop up the second one using some of the thin foam dimension. And there is my finished card. Super quick and simple. For card design number 9, I'm using a card sketch from Queen & Company. I have some tone-on-tone peach colored paper for the background, and then this larger piece that has all these different frames, and there's little sentiments in gold foil. So it's like, this is us, you plus me. Thought that was really fun. I added a scallop border using some of the green and white polka dot paper. Just adhere that to the bottom. Put a little bit of liquid adhesive along the edge of that scallop just to make sure it laid flat. I cut out a stitch strip die cut from the orange flower pattern paper, adding it to some green cardstock. You're only going to see the edge of that green cardstock on the top of that strip. I decided not to have it on the bottom. And then I'll just adhere it above the frame pattern paper. Put some ATG tape on the back and adhere this panel on that same dark green cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. This dark green cardstock is the perfect color to match many of the pattern papers that are in this kit. Next, I'll add a stitch circle die cut to a scallop circle die cut. I will have the very edge go off the left side of the card, so I'm just flipping that over to trim it off, and I'll adhere it using some liquid adhesive. And this is where I'll add one of the die cut images. And I love this image, it's so sweet. So a little mama fox or papa fox and their baby. For this sentiment, I have another die cut piece. This is Good Things Grow Here, and I did pop that up using some foam dimension. I'll also put one of the foam stickers in this upper right hand corner. This is so special. And to finish off the card, I'll add just one of the gold hearts next to the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this sketch. I really like the colors on this card. The soft pink and orange and that green look really pretty together. Now moving on to card design number 10, and this is my final card design. I have some beautiful floral paper for the background, and I'm adding 2 other pattern papers. These are just a tone-on-tone design. Decided not to layer all the different pieces. I attached that yellow strip down first. I'll put this card panel on some dark green cardstock and then again on some blue cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base. Sometimes it's fun to have the 2 different colors for that matted layer instead of just the wider matted layer. Next, I'll add this strip of the peach tone-on-tone pattern paper. Once I have all of those pieces attached, I'll bring in several of the die cut images. So there's this circle with the little flowers on the right side. I'm going to pop this up using some foam dimensional tape. Make sure to have good coverage so there isn't one area that sags. I'll remove the release paper and adhere it to the card. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to add a sentiment in that open area, but I did stamp it out on some of the card bases. This is from our family to yours. I'll just fussy cut out around the outside of the sentiment. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the lower portion of this circle die cut piece. Then to fill in that open area above the sentiment, I'm adding another floral die cut piece. And I'll just put some of the foam dimension on the areas where it goes off of the circle. I do have to adjust one of them to make sure it's the right size. I'll also add one of the pink bow die cut pieces underneath the sentiment on the right side. Now part of the bow will go off of that circle die cut, so I am adding those little foam pieces just on the tail end of the bow. And the final finishing touches, I'll add the little pink butterfly, and I will pop this up using the foam that's included in the kit. Of course, at this point, all I have left are the little scrap pieces, but it still works just fine. I'll also put 2 of the gold hearts in the upper right-hand corner. I'll still add just that small drop of liquid adhesive to make sure they stay in place. Then I thought it would be fun to have some sparkle on the butterfly and the flowers. So I'm using a clear glitter brush from scrapbook.com, putting it on the wings of the butterfly and most of the flowers. It'll just add a very subtle sparkly look. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I really like the gold hearts that are included on the one puffy sheet. I ended up not using any of the sentiments, but I used quite a few of the hearts. Now here's just another look at the 20 cards I made using Spellbinders September 2021 Card Kit of the Month. The theme is Together is the Best. This is a beautiful card kit. I love the soft colors and all the different designs. If you are interested in purchasing the kit, I do have a link provided in the description box below. You do need to sign up by the 24th in order to receive the September kit. I'll also add a link for the kit add-ons. Sometimes you're able to purchase an additional paper pad, a die cut pack, some of the stickers. Definitely go and check that out if you are interested in the kit. You can stretch your kit even further if you have some additional pieces. Although even with just the kit, you're still able to make a ton of cards. I made 20 and I still have quite a bit of the paper pad, ephemera, stickers, all the kit contents left over. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.